aspects of conventions that we haven't really touched upon before, but is something that is kind of near and dear to a lot of us, is Artist Alley. And it's okay. It'll be okay. But it's a neat place, but it can be kind of overwhelming, especially if it's your first time going to one. And there's a lot of things. We're going to kind of talk a little bit about what to expect. And, I mean, Rob...
Well, no, I brings me on to this one because I am the epitome of do not do this. No, I am an illustrator. I have done the artist alleys. I just found myself a little bit more keen on doing cosplay stuff. So eventually got to the point where I couldn't handle doing both. So I kind of petered away from it, but I'm thinking about going back. But no, but I've had experience being on the other side of the table than Doug, who's been the customer in the artist alley. So we got, good perspectives here for you. So first thing,
one of the first things that you can do in artist alley is look to see what people have for sale. Sometimes a lot of people will have like handmade goods and stuff. A lot of people have things like just kind of like prints that you can take a look at and buy. Like here's one from Earthbound. That's a Stan Lee one, a Jim Henson one, and the game Okami. And that way, you can just see, what they have to offer, and they usually are printed out, have a lot of copies, and you can get something you like of a character you enjoy and things like that.
The best way to go about it is actually when you enter in, kind of just serpentine through the lanes. Maybe not go directly to a table, but a lot of artists, I do recommend is try to project slightly over a crowd. A lot of them do it now. I mean, I used to have the college crate rate just going crazy just to get people to notice me at first. And then they found out I had nothing to offer, but that's another story. No, but it's one of those things where, like, people will walk by and be like, oh, that's a print artist, that's a knitwork artist, that is a sculpture artist. You'll generally get the feel of the crowd. And then you can go in closer as you go in through. And you have a whole weekend. Oftentimes, doing a quick run through an artist alley is a good way to waste time in between things, too. So it's not a bad idea just to go in.
Now, one of the things I love going for to Artist Alley, and it's kind of my main reason, is commissions.
Yeah, commissions.
And this is when you go to an artist that you find that you like and say, I want you to draw something for me. Sometimes, most often, if they're going to be accepting commissions, they will have their pricing right up front, or they will at least just have a sign that says, ask me about commissions. But even if you don't see a sign, if you really like someone's art style, don't be afraid to at least ask, hey, are you accepting commissions?
I generally did not do large commissions. I did like quick sketchbook commissions, just because personally I felt like my art style, it took too much to do, and I didn't want to be sitting up like other artists do actually all night in between days at the con doing their commissions.
Yeah, it really varies on the artist.
It varies on the artist, so please ask. I mean, you definitely can tell the more veterans will have a sign with pricing up front because they don't want to be interrupted constantly answering the same question. They put up a little sign. Novice artists at a smaller con, they might not have learned this yet, so it might just be something. But don't feel afraid to ask questions of the artists. We all like talking to the people. When there's a table, there's that whole security thing.
They want people to see.
They want people to see. And it's a really good thing to, be friendly with the artist too, because they might be a little bit hard struck to be like, no, this is my commission rate, but you might be able to haggle.
Especially depending on how business is going for them and things like that. And then we have just kind of a couple tips for things to for the artist when you're asking for a commission. One of the things I say, the first things you do right up front are once you know the price, confirm whether it's going to be you pay up front or you pay when you pick it up. Most artists will ask you to pay up front, that way they're not stuck doing this work and then have you vanish into nothing. The other thing I'll say is ask completion time, because some people might say, oh, I can do this in half an hour. Some people might want the entire weekend. And that can be really risky if you're only going to the convention for one day.
Yeah. But when you're doing commissions on the artist and on the payee side, make sure you both have each other's information. One, because who knows, after a con, the artist might have got really busy with something that came up, or they might have to postpone getting a commission if they are like a later commission. Make sure they have your information. Make sure you have theirs. Artists, I do recommend getting business cards. Just do them in short bursts, because I just recently had to throw out an entire crate that I had from my dealings of having business cards that then shortly after were all wrong information. So
places like Vistaprint are good for short quantities of business cards, and that's exactly what I was going to say for the person commissioning. Get contact information. Two things I say are: one, the business cards. Two, if you have something like a camera on your phone, which just about everybody's does now, take a picture of the booth. It'll help you remember.
But upon taking a picture, please be respectful of the artist. Some people just do the candid shot, and it's a little annoying because we don't know if you're just taking a shot of the general booth or you zoomed in. A lot of art can be stolen from artists, and so please respectfully ask the artist if you can take a picture of their booth or of them, just to have it. Generally, for the most part, even if the shyest ones will let you take a photo.
They usually don't bite. Usually. Now, so you're going to ask for a commission. Kind of what's the first thing I say? And first step is not everybody knows everything. I mean, there's so much stuff in fandom. One of the things I recommend is having a reference handy of what you would like them to draw. One of the things I do for my commissions is I say, hey, here's my favorite Pokemon Wartortle. And I show them this little figure, and they can take a picture with their camera phone or their own little camera, and that way they have an instant reference. And if I don't remember it, I always have a picture, once again, saved on my cell phone, so I can show it right then and there. And that way it gives the artist an idea of what they're looking for, and it saves them a little work of having to do some research. And you get a lot of neat stuff. I mean, one of the things I like to suggest is don't be too specific with what you want unless you are really going to be working closely with the artist and you're expecting a long-term goal. Kind of leave it vague, because like I say, draw me Wartortle doing something awesome. And I get all sorts of things.
A little bit hard.
Yeah, and everyone does their own unique spin on it, and that's what makes it fun. And, this gives the artist a chance to really kind of work their craft and show off what they want to do and their skills, and it makes it fun for both of you.
Just to interject a short story, is that a fellow artist of mine, he was working with this guy who, before the artist was warned, was very notorious about being overly picky, to the point of you don't make any profit on the commission. You have to understand that it's a business for the artist, that they're putting time and money. You need to pay for them for putting in, the effort. But this guy, he was so descriptive to the point where it wasn't quite enjoyable, but my friend, he did very well with the commission. But then when he handed off the commission, the guy goes, I don't like it. And it's like, this is in between two conventions, and it's like, I have to say I like it because I actually have the print, because the guy didn't take it. I go, I'll take it. And he handed it to me for free, and I go, no, here, you're getting money for this. So it's one of those things where it's kind of, you want an artist to at least be able to express themselves, but also you're probably going to get something a lot more fun.
Yeah, and by that same token, if you think I guess the opposite, if you think you've underpaid for a really good commission,
tip.
Yeah, give someone a tip. I've had someone who drew me something amazing and only wanted $10, and I said, no, I'm giving you $20. This is incredible. Now, the last thing I'm going to suggest is, if you like to get commissions, or even if you just get prints at a convention, one thing I cannot emphasize enough is get like a folio case like this. This, just something that you can slide the stuff into, keeps it nice and flat, keeps it preserved, and if you collect the commissions like I do, it's a handy reference for other artists to see what people have done. But if you only do a little bit, mailing tube works just as fine. Usually a lot of conventions have like a post office or a shipping center right around the corner, because there's always people. If you get to them early in the convention, like I'm talking Friday morning, you can usually grab one, and that way you'll be able to protect your purchase.
In general, like we say, artists have different things. They have small things, they have large things. I mean, a lot of them have big posters. That size folio case might not work. a tube. The only thing to be concerned of is if you traveled to quite a distance to get the convention, make sure the tube fits in your suitcase. You can get away with a lot on an airplane, but an excessive tube, they'll be like,
if you're gonna,
like that.
it really varies. If it can fit in the carry-on case,
Yeah.
if you get a clear plastic one like what architects use,
Yeah.
This is something you can get at an art supply store. They're a little bit more okay with that because they can see what's in it as long as it can fit in the overhead bin. But more than anything, Artist Alley is a neat way because it's different every convention. You might see some artists that go to
the traveling artists,
that go, but there's always going to be something different, and it's a great way to meet people and interact with it. I mean, that's what makes conventions fun, is fans interacting with other fans.
Oh, this might be slightly interesting, but artists themselves actually have these folio cases on their tables. Go through them. Don't just look at what everyone's open. Go through them. Have the time to go through them. Because you'd be surprised. You might like, oh, they don't really have anything I like, and then you flip through like, oh, I like that. Just jump in there.
Absolutely. If you have any feedback about Artist Alley experiences, either something really neat that you've seen or something else, let us know. As always, we accept emails at podcast@animecons.tv.
And start a thread in our forums.
Yeah.
Our forums are lonely. Go to the forums.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Tom.